Good evening and welcome to another installment of the New York Minute Sports Show. We've got winter baseball meetings day one. We've got Bubbles, Baboon, Buffoon, and Brian Cashman. And guess what? The Mets are there too. And so is Mike from Pudgy Boy Sports with a Z. It's New York Minute Sports. New York Sports for New York Nuts. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to subscribe. Guess what? We got 69 days until pitchers and catchers. Let's go!
It's New York Minute Sports.
Where should we start? In your mind, what is the top storyline? Like, you've been doing tons of other shows.
I mean, look, I think what we're looking at, two most likely guys to be traded out of the gate, Brendan Donovan of the Cardinals, Mackenzie Gore of the Nats. I'm expecting them to be the first two guys traded. I think the other big storyline that isn't being talked about enough is how much the two New York teams are going to do. New York Squared are going to crush it. We had Brian Cashman on our radio show, and I'm like, all right, so, what are you going to do? And he went through this long spiel of, we have Spencer Jones and Dominguez in left, and we have McMahon at third. And then when it was all said and done, he was finished all the GM speak, and we got the real out of him. It's like, okay, it's got to be Tucker or a Bellinger, maybe Bichette, maybe Bregman, maybe Ketel Marte. We're going to get another starting pitcher. We know we have to wait for Rodon.
This is when the work starts for the New York Yankees, Mike. This is what I've been saying to the followers on New York Minute. It's not going to come from free agency. One of the most thin free agent markets we can think about in a long time. It's so thin that Cody Bellinger might get $36 million plus in a free agency year. Brian Cashman is the mad scientist in the lab right now, and he's going to start going to work at the winter meetings. And if you got to remember, this is when the Juan Soto talks happened 2 years ago. And Brian Cashman likes to get in there and start picking up the phones. That's why you're going to hear Donovan's name if you're a Yankee fan. You're going to, mark my words, you're going to hear Jazz Chisholm's name thrown around in trade proposals. Yes, I know that you can't completely fathom that, but Jazz Chisholm does not make the Yankees any better, and he's going to be looking for a big contract next year. So now Brian Cashman goes to work, and this guy says Yankees squared. Mike, what have you been hearing out of Mets land as far as Pete Alonso is concerned?
Yeah, the Pete Alonso story is getting real freaky now, because it was reported today that Alonso is driving down to the winter meetings to go meet with people face to face. I guess he wants to hear face to face that he's not going to be getting 6 years from anybody. So I don't know if that's going to change anything in terms of Pete Alonso and Scott Boras. But I think one of the worst decisions Pete Alonso ever made was hiring Scott Boras in the first place.
I told you that he's weird. I told you he's Farva from Super Troopers. What Pete Alonso's doing right now is, if you've ever been in a relationship and she tells you she needs a little space, and then you proceed to call her 131 times in a row. Then you get in your Ford pickup from Tampa Bay and you drive all the way to Orlando, okay? And let me in. And the GMs are like, holy shit, oh my God, is that Pete? Is that Pete? Yeah, that's Pete Alonso. They're like, all right, just act like he's not here. Mike, as a Met fan, how are you feeling about his mental acuity at this point?
Well, he's like the big jock in the room, right? You look at him as like that tool bag guy from Florida, down with all the other guy, him and Harrison Bader, all those other type of beer pong, we're gonna do your girlfriend type guys.
He's a gym all-star.
Oh, big time. But Pete's a goof. But that's why the Mets fans fell in love with the guy. I don't know if showing up face to face is going to help his value much, or maybe he just wants to be more involved in the negotiations. Other than, because last year he didn't speak to the Mets until that deal got done until February. So
why is Pete Alonso the most unappreciated whipping boy of Major League Baseball? Every time it comes to free agency, they go, "Yeah, go hit 52 home runs for somebody else." It's like, is he that? I think it just comes down to that he's not respected in baseball, man. And I think the word's out. I mean, look at Lindor. Look at all the stories coming out of the Mets locker room. I think he might have been leading the charge. So it might be addition by subtraction. Mike, you know how much of a monumental douche you got to be for a team to let you walk and you hit 48 home runs a year?
It doesn't seem like it seems like something that should be just so cut and dry. Homegrown guy averages 34, 35 home runs a season since 2019. How do you not resign the guy? It's just in a position of need at first base. I don't know.
And they're not gonna know what you had until it's lost.
Yeah, whether that's good or bad, because I'm still of the camp where I would not go more than 3 years for Pete Alonso myself. I think the days of the power-handed hitting 30-plus-year-old batter, it's dying unless that guy offers you more than just what Pete Alonso offers you.
Or your name's Kyle Schwarber, and you'll play for anybody that's had 17 consecutive losing seasons, apparently, because he's going on the toilet bowl tour. I guess he's going to look for $71 million a year and play for the Pirates.
I'm surprised. Did you see that report with the Pirates?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He's going to be like, and then if the Pirates go out and they just give Kyle Schwarber $61 million a year, they'll be like, we tried. All right, let's get back to Wombat Head.
I just feel like the Yankees are just waiting to pounce. He's not downplaying it at all publicly. And when he doesn't downplay it publicly, historically, he makes moves. And if you're the Mets, okay, you can come out and you can say, I'm not going to do the long-term deal with pitchers. Well, you're not going to make the playoffs if you don't start building this rotation besides the young kids. You're not going to be there. You have to. And by the way, if Alonso leaves for Baltimore or Boston, he's
Hold on. Is this the dad of, the kid from Instagram that sings for the Colts? This is my Colts. This is my team. This is him. I figured it out. He has a long-lost father, bro. This guy is fired up about baseball. I got to admit.
There's a lot of people that are just kind of walking by in the background and just giving him like that look of what is that thing on the back of his head?
They think it's their wife yelling at him, and they turn around. It's like that Seinfeld episode where it's like, I'm in here. And it's like, what?
Okay, you can come out and you can say, I'm not going to do the long-term deal with pitchers. Well, you're not going to make the playoffs if you don't
Who's
start
that
building
supposed
this
to be?
rotation besides the young kids.
What? Go ahead, Mike. What?
Who's that supposed to be? That stupid imitation of, we're not going to give long deals to. But that's not just the Mets, idiot. That's like 20 teams in baseball don't do that.
Bro, as soon as you saw this guy's hair, it was a wrap.
When I heard I lost
you
all
have
respect.
And by the way, if Alonso leaves for Baltimore or Boston, he's meeting with both teams. He's on his ride over right now to go meet with them.
Pete's taking a jet ski from Tampa to Orlando
he's on
land,
his ride over.
by the way.
Yeah, real long ride he's got.
No, his buddy's just trailing him behind a truck.
Like Bader.
If you lose him, what are you going to do power-wise in your lineup? You're going to have a $350 million payroll and finish out of the playoffs again? So New York Squared are going to crush it, AJ.
That's the
They're just getting ready.
I want to hear Kratz, and then I'm gonna bury you.
Bro, did this guy get into the Pinot Grigio early? I know this is supposed to be a Yankees and Mets hot stove talk, but this guy has stole the show. Who is this guy?
Jim Bowden, right? They said it. I've seen his name pop up on Twitter sometimes, like he reports things, but I don't know. Like he's got like a real hard on for the Mets. It looks like
he hates the Mets and he loves the Yankees. They're gonna go full bore, and he's saying nothing.
Like the Yankees are waiting to pounce.
He has said zero. He's named Shane Spencer, Jason Dominguez, and when he names those guys by name, he means Kyle Tucker, Cody Bellinger. What, this guy's starting the helium? Somebody's giving this guy ketamine when he's not looking. Why doesn't the New York Mets have a frontline starter in their organization already? What are they waiting for?
So David Stearns' philosophy, and this takes years to build, and I know New Yorkers, especially with Cohen's money and with what the Mets are trying to do, don't have the patience to wait for this. David Stearns' philosophy is drafting and developing starting pitching to not have to pay pitching for a longer amount of years. He did it for years with Woodruff, and he did it with Burns. He did it with Freddie Peralta, who's now an ace for Milwaukee. He's been doing it his entire career, but that takes years to build. Met fans won't have the patience. Stearns is going to get an ace. And if he doesn't get an ace, he's going to get a couple of number twos. And then you could even trade for the ace at the deadline. Scoobl to the Mets, to me, is just completely on the waiting game. I think it's just a match made in heaven. The team most desperate in need for pitching and the team that just won't be able to afford Tarik Skubal or give him the money that he desires are a match made in heaven. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Well, now from a guy that's had a one-year rental, like Juan Soto, who lost him to you, the New York Mets, who got outbid for him. I don't know if it's worth it. I don't know if the David Stearns, and we'll know in time, only time will tell. But just like with David Stearns, he doesn't like to go big in on guys and give them huge contracts because their elbow winds turning into spaghetti. Look at Corbin Burns, who just left the Baltimore Orioles and went to the Diamondbacks. As soon as he got in, boom, his elbow went. If the Baltimore Orioles had put all their eggs in one basket and tried to spend money on this guy, they'd be up Schitt's Creek without a paddle. So locking guys in. Look at Garrett Cole. Look what happens to him, and it's not a matter of if, of when they're going to need Tommy John surgery. Even these young guys like Savage, like Cam Schlittler, they're eventually going to have to go down and get Tommy John. It happens to everybody nowadays. So when I see a guy like Scoobl, I don't know if it's worth getting all those guys and throwing them to him. But then on the other hand, look at what the Yankees gave up for Juan Soto. Absolutely nothing. Michael King's a free agent right now, and they can have him back. So for a one-year rental, and the Yankees, you know this, they are better, and they are better than any used car salesman you've ever run into, okay? Because they will work these guys up in the farm system like they're the next Mickey Mantle, when in fact, they shouldn't even be in the major leagues, half of these guys.
Yeah, I love that. I've always loved that about Cashman. I've mentioned it multiple times, how he builds up these prospects. If you're not going to go with the philosophy of paying starting pitchers long terms, and we just saw with Dylan C. Scott, wholly overpay, if you ask me, but if that's going to be the going rate for starting pitching, and I look at a guy like Valdez, who I think is better than Cease, I look at a guy like Ranger Suárez, who I think is better than Cease, and even the potential of a Michael King, who has the stuff to be better than a lot of these guys who are on the free agent market. You could get him maybe for shorter term. I don't see the guy that's going to be on the actual free agent market that the Mets are going to acquire. It's going to probably have to be coming through the trade market, not free agency.
See, now, Valdez makes me scared because of the incident that he had with his catcher last year.
And he's 32 as well.
What? So when he messed up the signals, the catcher, Valdez got upset and threw a fastball into his chest plate.
Yeah, that's
and
ridiculous.
Literally after that, he was pretty much, I think he might have got hurt or he was benched for the rest of the year after that. So that brings up a lot of quality issues with this guy and what kind of dude in the clubhouse is he? Then you have a guy like Ranger Suárez, who has all the talent in the world. This is the kind of guy that GMs fall in love with, but I don't think it's proven long enough yet, and the durability question's there, the injury question's there. But, I mean, he's a Brian Cashman wet dream, a lefty with stuff like that.
But I think that, I mean, the way the Yankees handled it, was just the perfect way. They have an influx of starting pitching, and what did they do last offseason? They added to it with Max Fried. Yes, it's completely against David Stearns' philosophy of handing out these long-term deals, but I don't want to put all my money. I don't want Stearns to make the mistake of having some of the worst starting pitching last year and then hitting the panic button and saying, now we have to go out and go get Valdez for 7-8 years up into his 39, age 40 season. We have to go out and get a big starting pitcher because of what happened last year. I don't want him to deviate off his path when he could still get some quality starting pitching through trade markets or take risks on guys like Michael King. And yes, that sounds risky after what we went through last season with the starting pitching, but there's pitchers out there that the Mets don't have to hand these long-term deals to.
David Stearns is like the wife of a billionaire shopping at garage sales for no reason, okay? Like, It doesn't matter. Steve Cohen's going to have a casino next to his stadium where he's going to get an influx of $400 million a year. This has completely changed the game on baseball. And that's why I said, and you can check it out in the link at the end of this episode and my last episode, was that Hal Steinbrenner is going to have to sell the New York Yankees. They're going to have to get a big media corporation to buy the New York Yankees or somebody like Amazon or Walmart or whoever, because they are not going to be able to compete with the money that the Dodgers and the Mets are making. But when it comes down to paying for guys, it makes no sense to me why these guys got to always outsmart baseball and be the smartest dude in the room and try to. This isn't your fantasy baseball league in your cubicle at your office, okay? This isn't like Clay Holmes completely nosedived. Canning got hurt. He was the sixth starter on the Anaheim Angels at one point. Their starting pitching completely nosedived last year. And yes, a work in progress, the lab, that's all great and stuff. And I understand growing guys from the farm system. Look what the Yankees are doing because they're cheap, but indirectly it's made them go into the farm system and start producing arms, which they never did before Phil Hughes and Dylan Betances. So now the Mets, I don't understand, man. When you got an empty check, when you have a blank check, how did you not already lock up two guys?
In who? In which two guys?
Give me both. Give me Suárez. If I'm Steve Cohen, give me Valdez and Suárez right now.
Oh, don't get me wrong. You're not going to see me crying over spilled milk if we come into next year and Valdez is starting, and then Michael King, and then you got Nolan McLean, and then you could just mix and match Senga, Manaya, whoever the hell they want to throw out there at your 4 and 5 starters. I'm gonna be perfectly content with that. But I'm not sure Stearns just has the stomach to hand out this kind of deal. I don't think it's the money that's the problem. I think it's the length of the contract, which is more of the problem.
But think about it like this, and maybe this is why I don't run a baseball team, is that the fact that a lot of teams, it's where the rubber meets the road, right? They get their farm hands, and then they get so good, they have to wind up paying the farm hands, okay? Now you have Stearns, who loves building up the farm hands like he did with the Milwaukee Brewers, but guess what? You've got a black card, okay? You can go out and you can go and buy anybody you want. So as a Met fan, I'd be a little pissed here, Mike, because not only can you have your cake and eat it too, you can grow all the guys in the farm system and you can just go out and buy it. Cohen has said numerous times it's lost money when he was talking about Verlander and Scherzer. This is like a fucking hobby to him. He threw away $91 million for Scherzer and Verlander, who didn't even pitch for the team in the same year. And why is Stearns upset about that? If he gets fired from it, he can always just go, hey, Cohen put a gun to my head to spend, for his next job. So I would hold Stearns' fucking feet to the fire. He should be spending like a drunken sailor, and I don't care about the future, man. You guys haven't won a World Series since 1986, Mike.
40 years.
What are you building to? Like, what are you waiting for, you know?
I'm not so sure Stearns would have been totally against Verlander and Scherzer had he been a part of those deals, because they were one step away. They were extremely short-term deals, which was I'm all for. You're never going to meet a bigger fan than me in terms of a short-term prove-it deal. I'm in love with short-term prove-it deals. That's why I loved it when they did it with Alonso last year. I wish they could do it with Alonso again and just continue to do 2-3-year deals, but he's obviously wants more money. If they let Diaz walk, which is another controversial thing, I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm not handing out a 5-year deal to a reliever. I'd rather go get a guy like Fairbanks or Robert Suárez and have them pair up with Lolev Dev and let that be.
How do you feel about Lolev Dev?
I'm really excited about Devin Williams.
I want to hear. You have to make your case about this because I need to hear how
Devin
you
Williams
are excited for this guy.
Help me out as a Yankee fan.
Help me help you.
Help me help you. Lolev Dev, who prior to being with the New York Yankees, whether I was joking or not, I said the Pete Alonso thing. I'll openly admit it. Pete Alonso broke him. We're all having fun, aren't we? It's all about having fun.
No. Hindsight's not good. Nothing ages well in sports talk.
Nothing at all. I said Shedeur Sanders was the best quarterback in the class, just so you know. Anyway, Lolev Dev has pitched since 2021. He's had one bad season in Major League Baseball. What year was that season?
Last year.
Last year. Every other season besides last season, he was arguably the best reliever in all of Major League Baseball. I'm going to take my chances that last year was an outlier to where everything got shifted. The beard policy got shifted. I don't think as much as we had fun with the Pete Alonso thing that it completely broke him because he was pitching extremely well up until that. I have the confidence that David Stearns knows what gets this guy going and getting him back in a less pressured situation, because as much as Met fans want to say it's the same amount of pressure, it's not. Pitching for the Yankees and pitching for the Mets, it's two completely different amounts of pressure. Getting him in the low lev situations like the 8th inning, maybe not the 9th, I think he's going to revert sort of back to what he used to be with the Brewers and not as bad with the Yankees. Somewhere in the middle of that career 2.45 ERA.
Well, listen, yeah, I would say the same thing, that Pete Alonso broke Devin Williams if I was a Met fan, just to bust Yankee fans' balls.
And it
Just
was
like
helping
how
that
I was saying I don't need Juan Soto. Yeah, right. I need Juan Soto twice a day and 3 times on Sunday, okay? So, yes, I understand talking points to bust each other's balls. So I don't take that with much credibility. But what I do put credibility into is when we got Devin Williams, we were told he was the 3rd best closer in all of Major League Baseball, okay? Now, the only difference, Mike, you ask, what's the only difference? He came to New York. Now he wasn't pitching in Timbuktu in Milwaukee, where no one, I mean, the fans care, but nobody, the media doesn't care. You don't have 30 cameras in your face. And this guy got out to a rough start in New York. And if you get out to a rough start, especially when you give up a beloved guy like Nestor Cortez for this guy, Devin Williams, that we've heard so much about, and then they bend over backwards the franchise to change the beard policy for this dude. He takes off 15 days for paternity leave. 7 games he missed, bro. He never got back on the stick, and it seems like if he reaches any kind of adversity, he folds like a cheap umbrella. And last time I checked, that is a really bad quality to have in a closer. Now, mind you, I heard somebody say the other day that Stearns said that he's happy with Devin Williams being the closer, but he'd be even happier if, what's his name? They re-signed, what's his name? Diaz.
Edwin.
He would be even happier with the Williams signing if they did get Diaz. So that means they're looking at him as an 8th inning guy. They just gave $50 million to an 8th inning guy that I don't think can pitch under the hot lights. So, hey, listen, man, of course you're going to say, I hope this works out, because you're a Met fan and you do hope it works out. But you know, in the bottom of your heart and at late at night when you wake up in a cold sweat, it's low lev dev closing out games for you in August. And don't give me this shit. Pitching in Queens is any better, bro. You guys are ruthless.
No,
you guys drive people to fucking drink and to madness. Look what you did to Doc and Darryl. I'll play this and then
Where
we can
should
start.
we start? In your mind, what is the top storyline? Like you've been doing tons of other shows.
I mean,
here.
look, I think what we're looking at, 2 most likely guys to be traded out of the gate.
Yeah. Somebody's got to tell this guy a squirrel died on his head or a flying wombat. Yeah. First of all, he sounds like the guy from the Toronto Blue Jays.
I have no faith in what comes out of this guy's mouth right now.
Yankees aren't a good team. Yeah. So what's going on with that? Because it looks like he has an earring on. Is that fake and dyed?
No. I thought that was the owner of the Raiders, the son. What's his name?
Oh yeah, Davis.
Mark
Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Oh man. It looks like a rat died on his head. Okay. Is that a toupee? Because if you're going toupee nowadays, right? And it looks like I got a toupee. But if you're going toupee, why, Mike?
Yeah, that's he looks full blown like Ralph Cifarella right there.
You're a bald dude, right?
Yes.
Apparently he bought Piamai at the winter meetings. You're a bald dude, right? You went bald. You said, fuck it, I'm doing it, right? You went bald. But this guy, if you got a haircut like that and you got a hairpiece, why are you trying to do that? And why are you dyeing it?
It makes no sense to me. I don't know.
And now you got me questioning whether I want to hear anything out of his
Brendan Donovan
mouth.
of the Cardinals.
You know, as soon as I heard the first, yeah. Yeah, if he says anything good about the Mets,
let's go back. He's excited for big. Hey, listen, man. I gotta give Haircut one thing. What's Haircut's name? Jim Bowden.
oh, I've heard him.
Yeah, Bobby Bowden, right? Bobby Bowden's son. So Jimmy Bowden, aka Toupee, aka a flying wombat, died on my head. You ready for some baseball?
In your mind, what is the top storyline? Like you've been doing rounds about.
And how baked is Red Hat, by the way? How many edibles is Red Hat on, bro?
Oh, he's gone.
Bro, he is polluted. Look at him. It's either that Red Hat is pushing his eyeballs down or he's on about 700 milligrams.
Yeah, his face is really red, too.
He looks like Cody Bellinger right now.
He's going to announce where he's signing.
All right, let's get back to Tubes.